have a discussion about whether or not Elon Musk should be fired from Tesla. If you look at Tesla's stock price, it has, over the past like month or so, it's gone down like 21%. I believe that the reason why Tesla's stock price, has gone down so much, is because of negativity around how Elon Musk conducts himself. Elon Musk used to be a hero of the California liberals because he created a great car company that provided buyers with state of the art technology. I mean, Teslas are an amazing vehicle. First of all, their auto driving system works well enough. I mean, it's amazing that we have cars that can drive themselves. I mean, in the future, I think all cars are going to be self-driving, because it will meaningfully cut down, um, insurance rates. Let me see. All right, let me see if I could get a. All right, let me see. I want to add something in to the green screen. Oh, this is cool. All right, for this live stream, we're going to have a picture that I used Grock to generate. So there's a picture of a nice looking girl in the background of this live stream. Hopefully that will attract more viewers. Okay, but we're discussing Elon Musk. We are the question I'm posing to you is, should Elon Musk, be fired, because he says a lot of highly controversial comments that have caused his initial base of buyers to completely abandon Tesla. People are, oh, Tesla owners are writing Toyota on the back of their, Cybertrucks in order to, I guess, keep themselves safe. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't condone violence at all. I think that, people who, set cars on fire, should go to jail. But I mean, Tesla dealerships are attracting huge protests all over the country. And some of the protests are unfortunately getting violent. Now, Elon Musk says, I guess, some things I agree and disagree with. You know, his idea, everybody has a different, idea of free speech. There's no correct, you know, way to censor social media because people say all kinds of different things. But that being said, Elon Musk's definition of free speech, I think, is too permissive. Yeah, well, he's a controversial character, Elon Musk. And social media websites are constantly torn between the right and the left, in terms of censorship. Some things have to be censored, and you have to let some people who say things that are repugnant and wrong spew their hate without banning them. I mean, we live in a society wherein the Constitution states that we have free speech. Well, I mean, I think you have to let some people make repugnant, comments on social media, just to preserve freedom. But I do think I don't hate Elon Musk necessarily. I don't agree with a lot of what he says. I'm not. You're not going to see me at his, dealerships protesting. I mean, I think Tesla makes nice cars, and I would like to have one. But that being, and Yeah, as you could see, I used a Grok image in the background as a green screen. His Grok AI program is um, permissive in terms of what it lets you create. Um, it won't let you, just create any image you want, but I like Grok because you couldn't create something like this, on Chat GPT and anymore. I mean, Chat GPT, certainly won't let you create, images of celebrities. Um, but Grok will. So I mean, that's like something I think is funny about Grok is that you could create, like a picture of Justin Baldoni or Blake Lively in court. As a creator, I'm going. I might cover the Blake Lively case, and Grok allows me to create like a deep fake of Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni, and obviously Google, Bard or Gemini and Chat GPT aren't going to let me do that at all. But and that's what Elon Musk does in terms of free speech. I mean, his X now platform lets you uh, say or generate any images you want. I mean, I don't have a big account there. I mean, but I mean, it does seem like it's possible for individuals to say things on X that would certainly get them banned on, Blue Sky or Facebook. And my thesis is that because Elon Musk, lets people say all kinds of things, his stock price has taken a justifiable beating. Elon Musk runs, well, what I think is the biggest auto company in the world. I think that um, Tesla has a higher valuation than, Ford and GM. But it seems to me like the Tesla valuation would go up even more if Elon Musk got fired. Musk has himself made some controversial statements that he's always having to, apologize for. I mean, we live in an age where it's not nice to call the trans population, a woke mind virus. I mean, he said that many times. I don't think like a woke mind virus has an operational definition. First of all, yeah, Republicans are too much obsessed with the word woke. They can't define what woke is, yet they oppose everything they don't like, they describe as being woke. It's like woke is to Republicans, what Satan is for the Ayatollahs of Iran. No, no, I, I mean, Elon Musk he's done many great things for America. He's created jobs. I mean, a lot of Democrats, the labor unions the labor unions of the UAW don't create jobs. I think that uh, what the UAW does is destroy the stock, price of Ford and make Detroit into a place that's unlivable. Yeah, Doge is questionable. All cryptocurrencies are questionable. I mean, Bitcoin is questionable. I mean, I've noticed also, yeah, I haven't spoken about Doge yet. I'm not really that familiar with exactly what it was. I did look at the chart of Doge before I did this podcast, and it seems like the Doge price has dwindled a lot over the past 6 months. I mean, if you purchased the Doge, because you thought it was going to earn you a lot of money when Elon Musk and Trump, got in the White House, you lost a fortune, and I believe that a lot of big investors are losing, have lost a fortune in Doge. And I would suspect that that's the reason why even the stock market and Tesla have gone down, over the past 6 months. Yeah, so I mean, and Elon Musk is presumably a big fan of tariffs. Nike stated in their conference call today that the tariffs are going to cause their sales to go down, by like double digits, and that type of news scares me because I think that shows that the tariffs are going to hurt people like me that just go to work, in go to work in the store every day and don't need. Oh, who is that behind me? That's an image I used Grock to create. Um, I just decided to put her up because I wanted to test the green screen effect for live streaming. I do like it a lot. I mean, I know that that's a weird image, but yeah, that's a Grok image. Well, yes, fair trade can bring jobs to America. I mean, I don't believe that Canada should impose a tariff. I mean, I'm not familiar with which countries impose tariffs on us, but like, let's say, I don't believe that China should be allowed to impose huge tariffs on a an iPhone that we ship them, but yet, we should not then, impose tariffs on a DJI drone that they ship us. I think, yeah, there should be fair trade, and and that goes the same with Canada. I mean, if we're importing whiskey from Canada, then we should be able to ship bourbon to them without a tariff. I mean, I'm not again familiar with exactly how our tariff. I don't know what our tariff scenario is with China and Canada, but what I could tell you is that I definitely think that Musk and Trump are probably correct in saying that you know we should not allow countries to impose tariffs on us without imposing the tariffs right back. My problem with the tariffs is that they do seem to be cratering the stock market. I have a 401k. I contribute a lot to it. I'm not willing to take a hit, in my 401k in order to, stick the finger at Canada and China. Um, I want to, see my stock prices continue to go up. And, it's like Jim Cramer was talking negatively about Elon Musk today. If you look at his commentary today on his stock on CNBC, it's like he called, Musk was just a a Trumpian, and he expressed frustration that the stock price of Tesla has been dwindling because of Musk's many uncalled for controversies. I mean, Musk understands that there are things that you shouldn't say in America, like a woke mind virus, and he says it anyway, because he wants to take a stand for free speech, but the problem is that causes his stock price to go down when people all start trading in their Teslas. And as far as Tesla goes, I believe that Tesla might face extreme competition from companies like BMW and Mercedes and Toyota. I believe that electric cars are going to be easily much more easily created in the future than they are now. And I think that when high-end European manufacturers are able to mass produce electric cars, there's going to be a tremendous there's going to be a lot more competition for Tesla. I mean, but that being said, Tesla's cars, they look really good. I would like to be able to get a Tesla when I could afford one, just because I want the self-driving feature. Okay, so what don't if you want something, my most severe criticism of Elon Musk is his appeasement of Putin. I am a big keep sending weapons to Ukraine guy, and Musk is under the delusion that if we just end the Ukraine war, quickly, then it's we're not going to have to fight Russia in other theaters in Europe, like Finland and Poland. We should definitely fund NATO. Okay, I would say that my disapproval of Musk stems from the fact that he wants to undo all of the great things that Reagan did when he defeated the Soviets and pushed the Russians back where they belong. When Musk says that, Musk has relayed false information, I believe, about Ukraine. I mean, he fails to understand that it's very important that we send Ukraine instruments such as HIMARS, F-16s, Bradley fighting vehicles. Um, it's not Europe's job to produce weapons that they can't afford in order to fight a war that's being foisted on them by Russia and Russia's allies in China and the Middle East and South Africa. Now Musk has said, and this is one issue that I would take up with Musk, is that he's been critical of the government of South Africa, but when you look at what the president of South Africa says about the war in Ukraine, you see that the president of South Africa seems to be rooting for Russia. I mean, I'm not Cyril is his name, Cyril Ramaphosa. I don't know his exact name off of the top of my head, but it seems like the Cyril Ramaphosa has critics criticized America for sending weapons to Ukraine. But that being said, there was a report that when the Ukraine war started, that South Africa sent Russia materials to fight. There was at least one ship worth of materials intended for military use that South Africa thought Russia needed in order to help out with their invasion. I mean, I'm perplexed as to why South Africa would support you know a genocidal Russian invasion of Ukraine when their biggest issue is that they complain about the evils of past colonialism. I mean, it seems like South Africa is attempting to. It seems like the government of South Africa, doesn't respect Ukrainian sovereignty. And I wish someone would send uh, Elon Musk and Trump, a transcript of what the president of South Africa said about the seems to say about Russia's invasion of Ukraine, because first of all, there's another reason why why Musk and Trump should support defeating Russia and Ukraine, and that reason is because we need to prevent the BRICS countries from ever having an alternative to the dollar. And this is what Trump and Musk don't understand. So, what are the BRICS? Brazil, India, Russia, and China, and South Africa. I think they're trying to create a whole different currency that would rival the dollar, as the world's reserve currency. In not sending and the key, I believe that currency, the BRICS, must be defeated, and the best place to defeat the BRICS currency, is in Ukraine. And Elon Musk is not an advocate of sending, Ukraine weapons, which I think is very stupid of him. That's my most severe criticism of Elon Musk. All right, so what's another controversy with Elon Musk? He's set to get a $47 billion payday. He had to relocate his company's location from Delaware, I think, to Texas, because a judge tried to make it so that he could not receive a $40 billion payday, $47 billion payday. My response to that is that there are many company leaders who've received $1 billion payouts for starting a company. You have people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, um, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeffrey Bezos. Elon Musk, what I like about Elon Musk is that he was able to take Tesla from their beautiful initial roadster. Tesla. I think the value of the Tesla OG Roadster is going to skyrocket. I would recommend investing in them if you could get one for under $500,000. I mean, I definitely think that Tesla's cars have a future. What But I think that there's a lot of problem in the interim between now and the future because Elon Musk is on board and he has a mouth that spews out a lot of controversial quotes. Um, but yeah, there's so in terms of Elon Musk, I think that there are things you could dislike about him, and there are things that you could like about him. I mean, he's certainly an entrepreneurial genius. Um, he started one of the most valuable companies in the world. But the problem is that he is, as Jim Cramer said, an extreme Trumpist. And Donald Trump has a peculiar isolationist worldview that deviates from the past 40 years of the Republican Party. I mean, the Republicans were never the party of Taft. They were always like the party of, you know, Reagan and Bush. And I think that the Republicans are making a huge, mistake in going towards protectionism. I'm not for that. In terms of the Republicans' social platform, I think that they're going to find that they're things like banning sex changes, banning, allowing states to ban abortions. I think Republicans are going to find that those bans hurt them, and I believe that Democrats might take over the Congress because of petty social issues that the Republicans. Uh, uh, all right, so isolationist is a propaganda term. It was created by the Tavistock Institute during World War II. I mean, I'm not sure that yet. I don't think isolationist is a propaganda term. I mean, I think that people who want tariffs and demand that we locate factories, in America, are in some ways are isolationists. And I'm not sure. I don't understand how it's possible in America with high minimum wages to, mass produce things that you could sell at Walmart for a profit. I don't know. I mean, if it costs like $15 an hour to pay a drone builder, in a plant located in Michigan to build a drone that then gets sold at Walmart, how high do you have to sell that drone for? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any economic system that can the, the economics of tariffs mean extremely high goods in grocery stores. I mean, if everything, like for example, that Walmart sold was made in America, you wouldn't have the everyday low prices. You would have inflation. The inflation would be worse than getting hurt by Canada and China in what you would call an unfair trade deal. So that's why I do believe that people who want the tariffs can, in some ways, be described as isolation isolationists. Can I donate my 401k to Ukraine until we have 45 trillion? I don't think it's going to cost $45 trillion to defeat Russia in Ukraine. Russia has lost supposedly 900,000 soldiers. You just need, and it's just not. It's. I think that defeating the Russian army in Ukraine has been the best investment that the United States has ever. One of our best investments for sure. I mean, what was the purpose of going into Iraq and Afghanistan if we were just going to let Putin take over Europe? And it doesn't. it's not going to bankrupt American workers to have $1 a day out of their paycheck contribute $80 billion a year to defeat Russia in Ukraine. And the good thing about what Elon Musk and Trump forget to mention when they talk about when they express their unease about the Ukraine war is that the weapons that we're sending Ukraine are made in America. Look where the javelins are made. Look where F-16s are made. The Ukraine war has been a boon for employment, all over America. So, I mean, the people who want to stop funding Ukraine don't seem to. They don't understand that what Putin's doing in Ukraine will expand to Poland and Finland, and that producing weapons in America to fight in Europe benefits American workers who build the weapons. So it's a win-win scenario. I mean, you're never going to see Elon Musk and Trump talk about people in the Rust Belt constructing Javelin missiles and Bradley fighting vehicles for Ukraine because they're not going to want to talk about what happens if we stop producing those vehicles, since that would equate, since there would be a lot of job losses. And another thing Musk and Trump don't seem to understand about the importance of funding NATO is that if we get kicked out of NATO, Europe won't purchase weapons from us. Already there's talk that NATO countries are looking to replace the F-35 jet. They now need to, have their own stealth program. If America stays in NATO, we're going to make plenty of money selling Europe jets for the next 50 to 100 years. So, yeah, I definitely think that Musk and Trump are wrong about pulling out of NATO. But I do like Musk's chatbot. I mean, Musk's chatbot lets you create, funny images like this of celebrities. I mean, you could with Grock AI, you could create a picture of Taylor Swift in shopping at Target. Go try it. I mean, I think it's very funny to do things like that. I suspect that celebrities are going to sue Grok once they realize that, once they realize that you're able to create deep fakes of them with Grok. I do not think the celebrities are going to like that, but one thing I do love about Elon Musk is that he's given us a chatbot that lets you create images, deep fakes of celebrities, and in addition, it lets you create like kind of disturbing images. Like I created, like if you're a Halloween, if you enjoy scary movies, you're going to notice that you can create with Grok, you could create images of like clowns, in wandering around a cemetery. I think those types of images are going to be useful for creators in the future who want to do like Halloween, presentations on their YouTube channels. They're not like frightening images, but they're just a little disturbing. And one thing I definitely like about Grok is that it lets you. It's not as heavily censored as ChatGPT and Gemini. But I wonder how long the regulators. Have I read on Globalization by George Soros? No, I haven't. I mean, there's legitimate criticism of globalization. I'm not saying that American workers should have no protection from predatory corporations that deliberately try to put them out of business, put them on the unemployment lines as soon as they find a robot that can eliminate their job. I'm one of the biggest challenges for people like Musk and Trump in the future is going to be trying to create an economy that grows at a steady pace, that and that benefits the American worker. The problem with the problem with either tariffs or unlimited free trade is that I think that those are two extreme scenarios. Going to economic extremes, either to the right or left, it isn't going to benefit the American factory worker who works at Ford or retail workers. Maybe if I can join the lefties and get a girlfriend, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, I would love to have a girl that looks like this. But I don't have problem with I don't have problems with getting girlfriends, and I certainly wouldn't consider myself a lefty. I don't think there's any justification for the obscene political violence that the lefties have inflicted on Tesla dealerships. I'm not sure that it's safe to discuss that, but I'm going to discuss it anyway. I mean, I think people who set Teslas on fire ought to go to jail for a very long time. I mean, I think it should be considered domestic terrorism, and they should be locked up for 25 years. I mean, it's totally inexcusable. I think one reason why Trump got elected was the George Floyd riots. I think when Democrats took a tally, well, I think when a lot of Democrats took a tally of how expensive it was to have people incinerating grocery stores and beating each other in the streets during the George Floyd riots, I believe that Democrats lost votes because of that, and people who were outraged by the George Floyd riots, I think help elect Trump. I mean, you have to remember that Trump didn't win by a very big margin. Again, he got the popular vote, but it wasn't like a huge blowout. I think that the next round of Democrats who run against Trump are going to have strong law and order credentials. I think they're going to be people who support the notion that it's not safe to defund the police department, and it's not wise to allow populations to rampage when there's a controversial police murder, or as there was with George Floyd. I mean, I'm not saying that there was a controversy attached to Floyd's murder. I mean, he definitely should not have been murdered, but there should not have. And this is where I'm going to say like why I voted for Trump. Well, the main reason why I voted for Trump is because I think that the Democrats needed to learn that it's not safe to defund the police department. You can't have people. It's not. We need more cops, for example, on the subway station. I mean, if you look at what goes on in the New York City subway station, on the New York City subways, you're going to see that the subway cars in New York City are not policed nearly enough. Every day there's violence. It's absolutely horrible there. And defunding the police department isn't a means of protecting subway goers from maniacs on the subway. The problem isn't that there's too many police officers in New York City. It's that there's too few. And I think in all major cities across America, like Baltimore, Minneapolis, Detroit, we're going to see in the future that it's absolutely essential to fund the cops in those areas. And if anything, they need police departments that are twice as big as they are, rather than half the size. What's another reason why I don't like Democrats? Democrats believe that too many people are in jail. I don't believe too many people are in jail. I think the big problem with America is actually that too few people are in jail. I think that the judges are being too lenient, and that it's important that we put people who steal a lot of money or beat people up in the streets. I think it's essential that we throw them in jail, and the Democrats believe that something called mass incarceration exists. I don't believe that mass incarceration actually exists. I believe that Most people are in jail because they committed an egregious crime and are probably getting off easy. So if you want something else, I tend to disagree with Democrats on. Well, here's one: drug legalization. We have a dispensary now on every street corner almost. Okay, I'm being facetious, but I mean, the Democrats really think that poor people benefit from being addicted to marijuana. It seems to me like if you read what the New York Times says about, marijuana, you're going to see that it's a lot more addictive than we've let on. It's not safe to legalize marijuana because it's addictive. And I think the Democrats in the coming, uh, I think that over the next 5 years, Democrats are going to regret the fact that they insisted on legalizing marijuana. First of all, yeah, I mean, so like with marijuana, one of the symptoms it causes is psychosis. People who have a psychosis aren't going to be able to work, in at Walmart or in a factory setting, at Ford. I think that legalizing marijuana makes people. I think it gives them a bad temper and causes them to be paranoid. I think this bad. I think that when workers come to work with a bad temper and a severe case of paranoia, they're either very fireable, or they can't do their job well and don't get promoted to the management. And when you look at the price of marijuana, you're going to notice that the prices are very high. A marijuana addiction can cause a factory worker, shall we say, to have a like $200 a week you know bill for marijuana. That's ridiculous. I mean, to say that people in New York City who are paying $3,000 a month in rent, can now afford an additional $200 per week bill on marijuana. I, I mean, to say that they could afford that, I think is ridiculous. I don't know, how workers at like ShopRite or Amazon, Target or Walmart can afford like a grand per month in marijuana. I mean, that comes out to like $12,000 per year. And the problem with marijuana is that it's so addictive that you have to purchase $200 of it per week. Yeah, and another thing that the New York Times said about marijuana is that it causes death. The health effects are absolutely horrible. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. I mean, I'm trying to stop, drinking beer. I've never smoked, but I certainly drink, too much beer, and I'm trying to sober up. So I'm definitely not casting, judgment on people who, are addicted to marijuana. What I'm doing is saying that, the Democrats have relied on, marijuana as a messiah, and the Republicans, have went along with it. They say the most permissive state with marijuana is the red state of Oklahoma. And in the deep red state of Oklahoma that voted heavily for Trump, they had to close down a bunch of gr- uh, cultivation sites. I guess where I'll just call them, marijuana, greenhouses. They had to close down a bunch of them because supposedly the dealers were engaged in illegal activity. The word on the internet was that they were bad actors. Supposedly, I'm not sure what's going on with, and I'm not sure what's going on with in Oklahoma with the growing of marijuana, but they say, yeah, that they had to close a whole bunch of them, and that only even like 21% of the growing centers in Oklahoma are profitable. I've read stories. I'm not an expert about the cannabis industry, but I've read stories that there's a lot of bankruptcy in California, with cannabis. One of the users stated that, yeah, there's dispensaries all over in California. Well, given that there's dispensaries all over the place in California, don't you think that the market is saturated? I mean, the only way to, create a marijuana industry that functions well is to, bankrupt people and to have more job losses. And again, I'm not sure what Elon Musk really has said about marijuana. I mean, I assume that Elon Musk does a lot of drugs and has doesn't really have a problem with marijuana. Oh, and one thing that Trump did that I really disagreed with was that he pardoned the internet drug dealer, the dark web guy, Ulrich. Well, I'm not sure what. Oh, Ross Ulbricht. Yeah, he pardoned. He gave an unconditional pardon to Ross Ulbricht, who was guilty of running a big, drug dealing ring on the dark web. I don't. I think Musk must have told, I think Musk told Trump to pardon uh, Ross Ulbricht because he must have purchased a lot of stuff from his website. But I mean, to me, it seems like America has lost its will to fight the war on drugs, and I think that's unfortunate. Uh, oh yeah, well Ross Ulbricht, yeah, he ran a marketplace of drugs. I mean, technically, he never had a warehouse. He would connect buyers and sellers. He did that on the dark web, and he was thrown in jail for a very long time, justifiably. There's I mean, in my opinion, there's no reason whatsoever why Albrecht needed to get a pardon from Donald Trump, just like there's no reason why the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers should have received a pardon for their crimes. It's not just the left that, um, thrives on the notion that too many people are in jail. It seems like the Republicans are appropriating that concept also, and I find that to be disturbing. I think most people, I think that the president should even lose his ability to pardon criminals based on the actions of not only Trump but President Biden. Yeah, one, I think like the most outrageous uh, thing Joe Biden did was pardon his son for $30 million in tax fraud or whatever it was. I mean, a lawyer on a lawyer who analyzed Joe Biden's pardon of his son noted that there's plenty of people in jail for the same types of crime that Hunter Biden committed. I felt it was extremely outrageous for uh, Joe Biden to issue even, yeah, the preemptive pardons. I think preemptive pardons are unconstitutional. The Constitution states that you could pardon someone who's convicted of a crime. It doesn't give the president. It doesn't explicitly give the president to authorize pardons for people of for charges that were never levied against them. Yeah, so that's another reform I think the Constitution needs. I do not believe, based on the actions of both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, that presidents should be able to offer any pardons at all. Um, all right, so what's another thing, the controversy with Elon Musk and Donald Trump we could talk about? Um, Oh yeah, Trump said he commented on Tesla's stock price. Trump is becoming a financial advisor. He's telling people to, Trump is aware that the Tesla stock price has dwindled in value over the past 6 months, and he's telling people to buy the stock. I think that's actually, I think it's a good idea over the long run. Um, but it's not the responsibility of the president to tell people which stocks to buy. And there's an article when you Google, Trump and Tesla's stock, you're going to see that. some people think that Trump might have committed a crime in encouraging people to purchase Tesla stock. I mean, Trump said like that he was going to do something to protect Tesla. You know, Trump does is a man that doesn't seem to understand how securities laws work. I mean, Trump was found, the Trump organization was found guilty of securities violations. They supposedly inflated the value of some of Trump's holdings. So yeah, it seems like Trump's ignorance of securities laws might have caused him to commit a crime in recommending that people buy Tesla's stock. And as someone who owns a 401k, I don't believe that the president of the United States, should give stock recommendations in principle. Um, they do affect the stock price. I mean, the fact that a sitting president of the United States is encouraging people to buy Tesla stock is a boon for Tesla's stock, in my opinion. Some would say Trump is very unpopular, and that it's a sell sign. I mean, we could debate for we could debate whether or not Tesla is a buy or not here. I'm not sure if it is. Um, but yeah, again, I would reiterate that I do not believe that the president should comment on the stock market. All right. So what's another Elon Musk controversy that gets? So I think that electric cars are not as environmentally friendly as they make them out to be. In order to acquire the battery for the electric car, you have to expend a lot of greenhouse gas, digging underground for it. I mean, you have to have like an excavator take the battery ore out of the ground. It seems to me like electric cars are just not, the answer to helping the ozone layer, even. I was always very skeptical about them when I heard about the high cost of production. Whenever there's a high cost of production with a battery, you have to count the emissions of extracting the battery into whether or not you should buy the Tesla car. I think that battery operated, I think that vehicles that use a battery for a fuel cell should have to demonstrate that they drive an X amount of miles per day. I mean, I don't drive my car every day, so I don't believe that, having a battery powered fuel cell is going to necessarily reduce my carbon footprint. Perhaps Tesla should, perhaps the regulators should make it so that Tesla, you know, sells more to truck operators that are going to get more use out of their vehicles. But all in all, I think Teslas look nice, and yeah, if I had like the $35,000, if I had like 100 grand, I would buy the Cybertruck in a minute because I think it looks nice. I mean, I wouldn't be that afraid that somebody would vandalize it. I think the people who vandalize Tesla dealerships are going to spend a long time in jail, and I think that unfortunate trend of emulating Teslas is going to subside in the future. But that being said, there's plenty of videos of unfortunately of Teslas getting vandalized on YouTube and X. And I definitely think that those people should go to jail. But that being said, I find Elon Musk to be a controversial figure. I think Elon Musk's legacy is that he's going to be one of the most controversial voices of his generation. He's going to be someone that you either love or hate. For most people, I believe that Tesla sales are going to dwindle in the deep blue states that they were originally popular in, like California, Vermont, New Hampshire. You know, um, I think that Musk's views about NATO are repugnant. His views of NATO are what I dislike about him the most. Um, I just wonder if he's going to try to run for president when Trump is forced out next term. I mean, that's the question I would pose to the audience is, would you vote for Elon Musk for president? I think that's what Musk is vying for as his Secretary of Government Efficiency. My problem with him as president again is that he's not pro NATO enough. I do think that he's going to have enough money to purchase. He's going to buy a very expensive campaign when Trump bows out. Musk's net worth is like 50 billion. He's easily he understands the language that you have to use in order to win the Republican primary. I mean, I don't believe he has a competitor in the Republican primary. MAGA voters dominated the Republican primary last year. You did not see, uh, pro-Ukrainian candidates. You didn't see pro-Ukraine GOP candidates get any votes at all. Um, So yes, I would expect that Elon Musk is going to. Oh yeah, that's true. He can't run for president. He wasn't born here. That's true. Um, I never thought about. I never saw it that way. Yeah, he's from South Africa, so I put my foot in my mouth. Yeah, that's true. He can't run for president. That's um, so he's really just getting a yeah. He's trying to be as much of a president as he could possibly be by sticking by Trump's side, I think. But you're right. Indeed, he can't run for president. Okay, so let's talk about Musk's SpaceX program. I'm not an expert in that, but I do believe that Elon Musk can. Yeah, I think his technological platform gives him the ability to put vehicles, perhaps even manned, on Mars. I mean, the SpaceX rocket, is amazing. I mean, I think SpaceX, yeah, and Neurolink are actually Musk's best business ventures. I think Tesla and X are in big trouble. X just recently had another $1 billion worth of funding. Um, and yet Tesla's stock is in free fall. But Musk's the good thing about Musk's fortune is that he has investments in SpaceX and Neuralink. Neuralink. I'm not an expert in Neuralink. I think that involves putting chips in your brain. I definitely hope that Neuralink therapies are able to work in the future. I do think that putting microchips in people's brains will cure a lot of neurological diseases. I don't know how, but I predict that in 25 years, Neuralink is going to have, a valuation in excess, of like a trillion, because I think that, people who get brain injuries are going to use Neuralink in order to, regain bodily function. And in terms of SpaceX, yes, I definitely believe that SpaceX can put people on Mars if such a thing is possible. Mars is very far away. I mean, it takes 20 minutes to have a radio conversation with people in Mars because the signal travels at the speed of light. So, yeah, Mars is 20 light minutes away. Um, Hopefully, Elon Musk will put people on Mars. Can you play the song Bang Bang Bang? I use Udio to create AI music even. Um, has anyone used Udio to create AI music? I think that Udio creates some good. great music. The problem with Udio is that you have to give the song a good title, and a good plot in order to extract a good song from it. I definitely think that AI music is going to replace uh, the record label artists. From what I've seen of UDO music, is that it creates music that it's on par with Taylor Swift in some ways. I mean, it can create songs that have depth. The problem with AI music is that it doesn't have any curses in it, because it's censored. So I hope Elon Musk soon incorporates AI music functionality into Grok. I would really like to create guitar anthem songs via AI, in the future, just because I think it can create songs that are as good as, the Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana. Okay, audience, thank you for tuning in to Should Elon Musk Get Fired from Tesla?